How long can a helicopter fly for? Watch this video. Hello, welcome to the channel. I hope you're all well. So how long can a helicopter fly for? What's the maximum time, the maximum endurance that a helicopter can be in the air for? So very simply, that the helicopter, its maximum endurance is based upon largely, well, how much fuel it has on board. So different helicopters will carry different amounts of fuel. And also, each different helicopter will burn fuel or use fuel at a different rate. So it really depends on the type of helicopter that you have and how much fuel you have and how efficient it is at using that fuel or converting that fuel in the engines to turn the rotors. So essentially, that's what determines how long a helicopter can fly for. Okay, there are other factors here, of course, that will determine the maximum time that a helicopter can fly in the air for, its maximum endurance. So each helicopter, every helicopter has what we call a power curve. So there is a certain bell-shaped curve, a power curve, where you reach the bottom of the curve where you can fly at its most efficient flight profile in terms of fuel. So therefore, it will be a much slower speed and it demands the least amount of power to keep the rotors turning and to maintain level flight. And let's say you'll fly at 50 knots, 60 knots or something like that, as opposed to flying at 120 knots, 130 knots or whatever it is. So it'll be a much lower airspeed and you demand the least amount of power. Therefore, you can stay in the air a lot longer because you're burning less fuel. Now, again, it really depends what kind of helicopter it is and what that bottom of the power curve figure is and what that maximum efficiency figure is, if you will. So again, helicopter, the figures may be different, the speed may be different, the power setting might be different, but it's always at the bottom of the power curve. Now, what was that power curve there required? Well, it's there to overcome the drag on the blades and the drag on the fuselage. Now, where is this kind of really important? It's, let's say, for helicopters that are doing search of scene areas, or they're doing news reporting and they're just hovering, let's say, or they're doing very slow speed flight in an orbit. That slow speed flight enables the helicopter to stay in the air for a lot longer because the pilots are able to lower the power setting to its lowest power to meet the lowest point on the power curve. Therefore, they're flying at the most efficient flight profile. So that will increase the endurance of the helicopter, and it could increase it by up to an hour and a half. It really depends how much fuel you have on board. There are other factors, of course, that affect the endurance, and that is temperature, air pressure, air density. We're talking about wind. We're also talking about the overall weight of the helicopter, how many occupants are on board, because all of these elements affect how much power is required to maintain a certain flight profile or maintain level flight. So let's just say the bottom of the power curve might be substantially less for a very light helicopter, whereas a very heavy helicopter, that power curve or the power required to meet that bottom of the power curve might be a lot higher. So therefore, there are lots of variables which affect the maximum endurance or the maximum time a helicopter can fly. But essentially, it depends on the helicopter and how much fuel it has on board, and the speed ultimately which the helicopter is flying. So if you're flying at a really high speed, then that's going to demand more fuel. If you're flying at a slower speed to a certain point at the bottom of the curve, the power curve, let's say 50, 60 knots, then that will be the most efficient. Now, bear this in mind. Many people think that if you keep on slowing down, you go to a hover, you go to 10 knots or 15 knots, that is going to be more efficient than flying at a higher speed. No, because the power required curve starts to increase again at slower speed. So it's an upside down power curve. It goes from slow speed at a high power. Then as the speed is gained, power goes down, or power required goes down, and then you get to the bottom, and then you get to a certain airspeed where you need to start overcoming the drag of the fuselage and the aerodynamic drag on the blades, and then the power required starts to increase again. So it's the bottom of that curve, and it happens from 40, 50, 60 knots. It really depends on the model of helicopter. So there is no specific figure in terms of airspeed. There is no specific power setting because it is model or type dependent, but a helicopter can have a maximum endurance in the air from, let's say, 2.5 hours, 3 hours, 3.5 hours, let's say, whereas in normal cruise flight, that maximum endurance might be 1 hour and 50, for example. So it's substantially less. If you like what I do here, keep on watching the videos. Don't forget, you can go to the website, refuelled.com/books for all the occupational books that I sell, or the aviation books as well. And with that, I'll catch you again in another video coming very soon. Bye now.